Spoilers ahead. This is your one and only warning. Leave now or forever hold your peace, because we're shooting blindly in these streets. And now, a Japan Time Podcast special presentation.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Japan Time Roundtable. This time, we're going to be talking about Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. I almost said versus the world. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. New Netflix series just came out, though, Scott Pilgrim has been around for a while. But before we get into that, as you saw from the little bumper that just played, we have a special clock that is on sale right now. You can go to either teamjapantime.com or Space website. You can buy a 10th anniversary Japan Time clock. Anywho, back to Scott Pilgrim. So I'm McDareth, be hosting this. And joining me today is Viram.
What's good, everybody? Hope you're having a lovely start to the week.
Also have Mike.
Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a terrible start to your week.
That's crazy.
God.
We also have Coast.
I defeated my summoning Alexis to get here today.
Well done.
Okay, I won't lie to you. You said that so fast it almost flew over my head for a second. I got it. All right.
Dude's not a fan.
I mean, no. I heard what you said. I got it when
You didn't watch the show,
No, I did.
or the books, or the movie.
Nah, I've consumed everything. Okay, everything except I own the comics. I haven't read them, but every other piece of Scott Pilgrim I have. Either way, so how does everyone feel? I guess the overall starting point from, I guess let's kick off with like the animation of everything. Is like when I first saw the trailers for it, my first thought was, oh, it's going to be more closer to the comics than like the movie or the games were. Game was, and then after episode 1. No.
I mean, it kind of.
Wait, with the animation? Like, specifically the animation?
Yeah, animation. My thought was when I looked at the animation that's how I felt the whole thing was going to go. It's like, oh, they're going to do the comics more directly than everything else.
With the animation, like, artistically, or are we talking story?
That was a little bleeding of both, but like artistically, yeah, it looks a lot like the comics. It was kind of where I was starting off there.
When you said like animated, I thought you meant like specifically the animation.
Yeah. That was just like the feeling I got from the animation that like, oh, it's going to be like, they're going to do the comics with this because of the way it looks very much like the comics.
Yeah, it's just the Scott Pilgrim. So the game looks like it too. It's just like pixelated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we're talking about like the art style. I really, really love it. Like, this is probably my favorite that the Scott Pilgrim world has looked. Like, it's obviously taking influence from the comics, but it's not exactly the comics. Like the chins aren't quite as pronounced. They have a bit of like a softer, rounder look to them. But I think it looks really, really, really nice. This is the first project I've seen from this animation studio. And now I'm like really interested in seeing what else they've made.
They made Devilman Crybaby.
Oh, that's the studio? I didn't even know.
Yeah.
There's a very good animation studio at the very least.
Yes.
They're very good at creating visually striking work.
Yeah, I think I think the part that like really was like the wow point of the entire show, not to skip ahead too much, but it was like episode 3 when they fall out of the airplane. You know the part I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they like break into that like rainbow world with the dinosaurs and everything.
Oh, yeah.
That part was crazy.
I mean,
yeah.
overall the animation just was really well done. Like, I think it stayed true to the original source material of the comics, but like also added its own flair to it. And with this anime's source material, I guess, in its own way, it kind of needed it a little bit, maybe, or not needed it, but it added on to how this show was written. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was really good.
Yeah, I think like even I think you just touched on it, is like it feels like an anime, which is like obviously, but I think like the style, if you think back to like the old cartoon shorts they made to promote the movie, like those definitely felt like more of a Western animation style. Whereas this is like
Like
100% anime.
example, like can you give an example? Like what do you like?
Uh, so like, if have you seen like the old cartoons they used to promote the movie?
No.
I also not seen these.
I think they put them on Adult Swim. They were also like they were a lot closer to the comics than the anime is. They had kind of like a puppetry tweening style that is very popular in Western animation.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this is like full on like
Yeah, I
anime,
thought you meant
and I
like
think it looks really nice.
Avatar or something like that. I was like,
Oh no.
yeah.
Even Avatar is like very anime inspired.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Compared
sure
to
like
like
all those shows were like anime by Eastern Studios even.
I think it's kind of interesting because of the fact that it felt very much like an anime. I felt like times where, as a result, there were moments where I felt like the cast didn't quite align with what was happening on screen, or what was
Yeah,
coming out of their mouths didn't quite align with what was coming out on screen.
that's something I really wanted to touch on as well.
Because
I
it's
think the
not like,
cast. Go
oh,
ahead.
go on. I was just gonna say, like, because obviously it's the movie cast, the live action movie
Yeah.
cast for the Edgar Wright film, and I feel like in the context of that film, it was a perfect cast, pretty much.
Mhm.
But I'm not quite sure how. Like, I'm still kind of on the fence about how well I feel like it translates to a series like this, because I think a lot of um the voice acting and the acting that they did in this film isn't quite like, it's not quite as bombastic as the visuals would kind of
Okay. Yeah.
imply.
Yeah.
Like, it's all like, all the performances are still great, but and all the actors are still great, but it's like sometimes you'll get these moments where the characters are really kind of expressive and animated in the way that they're portraying things or the things that they're saying, but the sound that's coming out of their mouth is quite relaxed or quite naturalistic.
Yeah. That's like the two parts that stick out in my head is like when Ramona is like, "You want to talk? Start talking." And she says it in kind
Yeah.
of like a quiet voice, but they animate her like she is yelling.
Mm.
And another one is when Steven Stills is like, "When did you learn how to play bass?" And he says it like that. He says it like very like you said, like
Nonchalantly
neutral.
or like
Yeah.
carefree.
And they animated Steven yelling and flailing his arms. It's like it does not fit at all.
Yeah.
And like I think I'm very happy they brought the movie cast back. Like I, even if there were some weird like lineups with the voice acting and the animation, like I would not trade
Mhm.
them for anyone else.
I
Yeah,
think bringing
I
them
definitely
back
agree.
like kept the charm of Scott Pilgrim, and
Yeah.
like I think it also added on to the comedy for the anime as well. Like I felt that when I watched the anime over the movie, I was more in tune with the comedy. Maybe that's just also part of how it was written as well, and it's more open ended because it's technically a longer running time. Um, but the way that they were able to express themselves more because of that, like I really enjoyed being able to see them perform more for the character and explore more. Like also on top of, again, we'll get into that soon, but like with how the series ran. Like, it's cool seeing how they approached the characters in the anime. So
Yeah, and I don't think
Mm.
I think there were some that really nailed the cartooniness. Like I think Michael Cera did fantastic.
Yeah.
And so did Chris Evans, but
Yeah,
like he
so I
was
really
already
like
very
Chris
cartoony
Evans.
in the
Yeah.
movie, so he didn't really have to do much work to get himself ready for that. I don't remember Knives Chow's actor, but she
Ellen
also
Wong.
did great. Yeah, Ellen Wong. Um, I think the one that really kind of maybe needed a bit more was definitely like Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Mm-hmm.
She really didn't change her movie voice at all, and I don't think it's bad. It's just like sometimes the animation design, and I don't know if that was like a directing thing or if it was specifically an animation thing. Like I don't know if the animators synced it with the Japanese VA. And like that would make sense, but I almost feel like maybe if that was the case,
It could
they
have just been a direction thing with
yeah.
we want to keep Ramona
Yeah,
like
I feel like with Ramona, it makes sense for her to be like mysterious. Like she cares, but she doesn't like care too much. She's like
yeah.
closed off. It seems like still.
Yeah, I mean if that was the voice direction, that's fine. I just think the animation should have maybe also been a bit more like toned down in order
Yeah,
to
because
fit
you would
that.
think that like that would be the priority, for the English cast for Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah. Like this all like got put into production because the English cast said yes.
Yeah.
So I feel like that should have been the priority there. But no, I like otherwise like I'm like it's so cool they got everyone back. It's just so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then-
that's kind of remarkable considering how big some of these actors are.
Yeah, now they've gotten after all this, after from the original Scott Pilgrim to now, like it's funny seeing like Chris Evans. It's like, oh yeah, Chris Evans was in that movie. Like,
Yeah.
all these years later.
Yeah, I mean if you go back and watch interviews or even like interviews today, they say like that is like the one movie cast that all of them have been in that like they all still keep in touch.
That's awesome.
Like they said that after the movie wrapped up, they started a chain email and it still gets like updated to this day. They
That's
still
really
talk in
cool.
there.
They did a live table read during COVID or something.
Yeah.
And like Chris Evans made sure that he was there 100% for his part. Like he wasn't able to stay the entire time, but like he wanted to make sure that he was there for it because he admired the role so much. Like he enjoyed it so much. Yeah, there's a bunch of people like Brie Larson, fucking I forget the actor's name. He also did the Superman shit.
Oh,
his
the
name.
the guy who plays Todd Ingram.
Yeah.
I forget his name too. He was Superman.
I think
mean
it's like
The
Robert
recent
something?
Superman or a different one.
no.
No, the one
He's done
before.
a Superman
Ruth.
role. Yeah,
Brandon Ruth.
that's what it is. Yeah, there's like a ton of superstar power in Scott Pilgrim, so it's cool that they not only want to keep playing these roles that they've grown to love over the years, but they also want to create more for the fans that have been watching for so long and admire them as much as they admire the characters that they get to play. So I have huge respect for like the entire fucking not just the cast, but the people that put in work to make that movie.
Mm.
Yeah, that movie is fantastic. Should we talk about how this differs from the movie?
So yeah, so what we've been hitting at this whole time is that it differs because that was a question I saw a lot because a lot of people felt like, oh, but I already know Scott Pilgrim, so like if you already know Scott Pilgrim, then you're already good to go. Then you see episode 1, and then the very first fight with Evil X, Matthew Patel. His name escapes me earlier, but yeah, with Matthew Patel, and normally Scott wins, but in this Scott loses. And then from there, they hold a funeral for him. And then eventually Ramona figures out that, oh wait, he didn't actually die. He got kidnapped. And now the whole course of that is now Ramona is trying to find Scott. So then it's like the title Scott Pilgrim Takes Off is now a double meaning. Because you would think that was like, oh, it's like the beginning of like a TV series. The TV series taking off. But no, it's like Scott disappears.
I remember when they first teased this, not like when they first announced it, but when they first put out the trailer, and it had the different name, but like the Netflix title still just said Scott Pilgrim Anime or whatever instead of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off.
Yeah.
And I saw the title at the end, I'm like, Scott Pilgrim, that's weird, because like all the other things are just Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Like, it's weird that it's different. It probably doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I thought at first I was thinking like, yeah, they just didn't want to name it versus the World again with the show there, the movie there.
Yeah. I will say throughout the first episode, I watched it with a group, but I snuck like watching half of it right when I got up because I'm like, oh man, I'm so excited. I want to watch like a little bit. And I got up halfway through, which I think is when Scott is like, hey, please come see my band tomorrow. I remember, putting my phone down after watching them and be like, man, this kind of like, I'm a little worried. They're kind of like zooming through this. Like, we didn't get like even a proper introduction to knives. This is so strange. I don't know if I like this that much. And then, I saw the end of the episode. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's why we zoomed right through the opening, because it's not even the same story.
Yeah, like I had a different experience because like when they were like teasing it with clips before it was released on Twitter and stuff, and it was like the scene where Scott's waiting for Ramona to drop off his movie and stuff. And I remember seeing people on Twitter be like, "Oh, it's so weird like watching this clip because there's like so much open or like so much dead air."
Yeah.
And all that, and it's like, well, you have to understand, they have a lot more runtime and they're able to expand a little bit more in dialogue and stuff like that. But when I started watching episode 1 and I saw like the pacing for it, I was like, oh, okay, I'm getting a little excited because I'm getting like glimpses of versus the World, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get in like this cool anime form. Oh, okay, this is gonna be sick. And then the Patel fight happens, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What just happened? I'm looking like Future in that fucking meme where he's flabbergasted. Vanilla, put that picture up right now. I'm looking like this, and I'm like, how is this even gonna like continue going on? Like, where does this go?
And for me, it's like, because I was still under the impression like, oh, it's gonna be like the comics. So I got to the end of the episode, I was like, wait, what? I like opened the first comic and went through. I was like, no, that doesn't end that way. And I was so confused. I was so confused at first that I, booted up the next one.
I forget who said it. I gotta go back and look, but I remember right as Scott quote unquote died, someone in the group chat typed "thank God." It's very funny. That whole moment was just very, very cool. Scott Pilgrim really did take off.
This is kind of a random thing, but one of the things I was kind of sad was sort of missing in the early part where Scott's at Ramona's place for the first time, and they just get there and she offers him tea, right? And in the movie, she lists the massive collection of tea that she has, but in this show, the tea is just there. She's just prepped the tea, and it's I think it's a sleepy time tea that she uses the first time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that was like a scene that I missed from the previous one.
It was personal for you.
Yeah. It was just a very memorable scene because just her listing all of those different teas was just fun. But yeah, then afterwards, of course, once we got to the Matthew Patel fight and they just threw the curveball, I was like, oh. And then of course it begins to snowball from there as well, where like Matthew Patel is the guy.
Yeah, he gained so much confidence.
That was so cool.
I like seeing the variations of each of the X's. It was a nice spin on it. Like there was a few of them that like I really enjoyed watching. Not even the X's as well. Like I enjoyed the young Neo stuff,
Yeah.
the Todd stuff. Like it was very very fun to watch.
Like they got
Yeah.
so much more character for everyone, and then Scott gets his later. But I thought it was funny because someone was complaining. I don't know if they finished. It was like they should have called it Ramona Takes Off. But it's like literally
Yeah,
every
I
single
hated
major
that.
character in Scott Pilgrim, you actually get to spend time with all of them. Besides just they pop up, they fight Scott. That's it.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
like the whole point is that it's a bait and switch. You can't just. The whole point is that it's a bait. So you can't just call it Ramona Takes Off because then there's no bait and switch.
Yeah,
You're
you would
supposed to
just- you would just
feel-
know.
You're kind of supposed to feel what Ramona's feeling throughout the show.
It's also
Yeah.
like in the movie, I feel like we don't get to see as much as we could. Like for example, with Lucas, like you get the movie set bit, and then you get the fight, and then he goes down the rail and at 300 like kilometers an hour, and he dies. Right? Like in the anime, it's so much more deeper, and like again, you get to explore the character a lot more. Although it's not as much as the same as in the 2010 movie, I still appreciate that we're getting more of him.
I feel like
and then
Lucas.
the same can be said about everybody, really. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
all of the X's had a lot more kind of screen time and just kind of a lot more added to their characters, and it just made them all a lot more kind of interesting. And I think that in and of itself is a great reason for why this like is a great justification for the existence of this piece of media. Like I mean, I'm sure that everybody watching this has already seen, like, if they've seen the series, they probably went in as, people who enjoy Scott Pilgrim as a whole. But if you, for whatever reason, watched this anime but didn't watch the film or didn't read the comics, well, first of all, you should have done that first. But second of all,
Yeah.
definitely go back and do that, because I think you'll gain greater appreciation for both.
Yeah,
Even-
it's weird. Like this is almost like it's an adaptation, but it's also like a meta, like what if, and also like a sequel,
Yeah.
all at the same time.
yeah, like what
Yeah.
Ghost hinted at Tito. Oh, it's like the Final Fantasy VII remake of Scott Pilgrim. It's like, well, yeah, basically is.
It kind of is,
Yeah,
but
that's-
it almost feels
That's
like
what I
more.
was saying, man. It's like it's the remake, the FF7 remake, but Scott's just in it.
It definitely feels like more than that though. Like it's not just like it's the same but a little different.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no,
I
but
mean,
it's
that's
just-
completely different.
But that's
Yeah,
the same
no,
thing with the remake. Basically, is like it takes you go in with the assumption, oh, it's just Final Fantasy VII again, and then they add stuff that just flips it on its head.
Yeah, that's kind of like the example that I wanted to give it. Not so much it following the exact same pipeline.
Yeah, it's almost because the
Yeah.
other way I take that is like for this story to make sense, Scott Pilgrim already had to have happened.
Yeah.
Basically, so
I mean,
it's like
the
that.
very fact that you have the whole young Neil movie script thing, which is literally just a reflection of the movie, right down to the fact that the director of the movie is called Edgar Wrong, because it's Edgar
Yeah,
Wright's film.
I loved that.
Also, I love that he was voiced by Pleakley.
Hmm.
I love that there were a lot of cameos in the show, which were amazing. I don't know if you guys saw a lot of them, but there's a ton that Edgar Wright just tossed in for like the smallest roles.
No, yeah, I saw a few of them.
I recognize the voice of the two guards. But
Yeah.
off of like just hearing their. I mean, I recognize the voices, but I couldn't like pick out the name just from hearing the voices.
I will
One
say-
of them, I'm pretty sure was God, why do I not know his name? He's a very well-known British actor. Simon Pegg.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Who did he
Simon
play?
Pegg and Nick Frost. That's it.
Oh, those were the guards, right?
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. Yeah.
I've seen the movie, and yeah, I played the game as well. I'd never read the comics, and I was kind of hoping that this would have been like the full adaptation of the comics, but in an animated form. That's kind of what I was really hoping this would have been. So even though I really, really enjoyed the twist, I can't say like there's a little teeny tiny little bit of disappointment still that we never got to see like the original story animated in this amazing style.
Yeah, I see. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like this show is great. Don't get me wrong. I really, really loved watching this multiple times already. But man, it would have also been cool to got the other thing. It feels weird though, right? It feels weird to be like, oh man, how dare you not tell us the same story four
Yeah.
times?
Yeah.
It's like, that fight would have been so cool though.
That's kind of why I was like, after watching the third episode, I was like, I'm a little like I was a little thrown off at first. That's probably what they wanted for people who have watched or at least know of Scott Pilgrim beforehand. But I'm very keen on like being involved in this because it's such a change of pace and um not shock value, but you know, that this was their intention for sure. Like kind of throw people off guard with how they changed it up.
Yeah.
It definitely just like because that was the way, like I said before, that's what I was thinking. 'Cause I really thought it was going to be, you know, just the comics animated, but literally just getting to see the X's in like each episode besides the twins. Each episode kind of follows an X, and you're just getting to learn way more about them, about their relationship with Ramona, and like just so much more than what you got. And now each X isn't just defined by, oh, I dated this girl once. Now we must fight. Like there's so much more to them.
Yeah, it is really, really great. I forgot what I was gonna say. Someone else go.
Episode 4 is peak.
That's the
Oh,
movie
right.
set,
You
right?
just reminded me. It did kind of bug me, and it still does kind of bug me that we had like 3 movie-themed episodes in a row. Like it felt like it felt like we weren't going anywhere for a while.
I was more bugged that the twins were kind of like a MacGuffin in this, and they really didn't get as much of a light compared to the others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else is new?
Yeah.
I mean,
even in
the battle in the movie is really cool. I like how it was done, but yeah.
Yeah, like in the movie they were very much just a set piece. They had
Yeah.
I don't even remember. They had very little dialogue even in the film.
I really only remember them from the game.
I don't even think they have dialogue in the film.
Twin Dragons, a good song.
No, but episode 4 I really liked because I felt like that first 5 minutes was like the perfect embodiment of Scott Pilgrim. Like it took me back to like the late 2000s of internet culture where you got this like pop punkish song that would be like an AMV type of thing where Lucas is fighting the ninjas, the paparazzi ninjas, and it's just so well animated and storyboarded. Like I got like super nostalgic after watching that. And I was just so happy that I was gonna get 4 more episodes of possibly that as well. I think that set the standard for like the rest of the show for me, and I wasn't really let down afterwards.
You're talking about the whole like Chris Evans character, like that whole bit.
Lucas Lee
at the
with
start,
the
Lucas Lee.
United States of whatever.
Yeah.
That was so, like that to me felt such like, oh, this is almost like Tony Hawk. it's so cool. I think Lucas Lee stole the show.
He was very prevalent in the show the whole time. Honestly, like a lot of them, like him and Todd and
I really liked Wallace in this.
Goose. Really? Okay, I actually want to talk about this too. I really didn't like Wallace.
Wow, why?
I don't know. I felt
Let's
like
talk
in
about it.
I felt like in the movie he was like, he like made jokes about people, but he always felt like somewhat sympathetic. And this in the show he just kind of felt like an asshole.
I always felt like, yeah, Wallace is like super self-centered. So I kind of, with this, it kind of just played into that.
Like in the movie, I got the feeling like, he like shits on Scott, but like deep down he really does care about how he feels. But in the show it's like, wow, he does not really care that much.
I feel like it was still the same, to be honest, but there were just more opportunities to show, like the how scummy he can be.
Yeah, I guess with Scott gone, you didn't really get those moments.
Exactly, yeah.
Let's say, well, one thing with Wallace, I was wondering if they're gonna do it because pretty sure it's the end of the movie, even in the comics, I think, is that like Steven Stills and Wallace get together at the end, and that just didn't happen. Now he has his husband that works at Nintendo.
That's a great reveal.
Yeah, I love that.
Because when they were teasing it, it's like, oh, it's gonna be Steven, and Steven's like he's like a professional artist now. It's like, no, he works at Nintendo. It's like, oh, okay, so it's not even Steven. All right.
Dude, I don't know why fucking what was it 27-year-old Scott or was it 37?
It was 40-year-old. There was 27 and then 40-year-old Scott, I think.
Yeah, 27-year-old. I don't know why he turned into a South Park character.
My man did not age well.
He was voiced by what's that SNL guy? The guy from SNL. Oh, what's his name? I'm gonna find it.
They did like a thing recently talking about the voice actors, and like I retweeted that I was watching. It's like, oh, this shows older Scott. This shows older Scott. It shows a voice actor talking about playing older Scott. Because it's like, oh, I was always a fan of Michael Cera, so getting to be like the older version of Michael Cera is kind of cool.
Yeah, I guess should we talk about the whole like the second twist of the show?
Yeah. So
With
okay,
the whole future thing.
So when that was going on, what did you think was the reason? Because like as it was kept going, it's like, okay, she keeps knocking off she's knocking off villains. So it's like, well, they're always around. So either it's the twins or it's like, especially when the whole story is written out. It's like, okay, so it's some future character. Part of me thought like maybe it's even Brian O'Malley coming in to like change some of his story. I thought they might pull that, like the creator is doing something to change
some Nier
everything.
Automata shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Yeah, old Scott is voiced by Will Forte, by the way.
Okay. But then
I mean, up until the reveal, like up until he's like, it was me. Like I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know who that robot was. That robot was not in the movie.
He
was in the games.
But I didn't think he was like a character.
Yeah.
There's a lot of characters in the game. There's a T-Rex guy.
I just remember because I had to grind the level going up to Gideon Graves for the final fight, and those robots are like the main enemies in that level.
At first, I thought it was like gonna be some like twist, like, oh, it was Ramona the entire time or something like that. But then they kept really pushing this Gideon thing, and I'm like, are they really gonna just write themselves into it's always been Gideon, yada yada yada? So then I was like really just influenced that it was gonna be Gideon still, and then I was like, oh, like there was one moment where I realized, oh, it's just Scott, but I don't remember, I can't recall. But for the majority of it, I was like, oh, please don't be just Gideon again.
Yeah, I like, because I did like, especially with, okay, before we pull back a bit to Gideon and learning his name is Goose. Actually learning way more about him.
What was it? Goose?
Gordon Goose.
Yeah,
Gordon Goose, yeah.
And the fact that like he's doing all this, he's kind of like a loser now, and then he's like, well, actually, I'm still scheming, to the point where he puts explosives on a stage. It's like, well, I'm just gonna kill you. And it's like, oh, okay, that dude's still evil. Yeah, I did like the twist, especially the final episode being the world versus Scott Pilgrim and literally just flipping it, and it's
Yeah.
like the adult Scott is the main villain, and it becomes a fight. And okay, so someone like I really like Anamanaguchi and the music they put into Scott Pilgrim. So when that fight started and the X's get like star weapons and stuff from Ramona, and it kicks in to the boss theme from the video game, and then they do a remix of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
like basically the scene when she's actually giving the X's stuff, it starts playing the boss theme from the game, and then when
I knew it was Anamanaguchi, but I didn't know it was like just the boss theme.
yeah, and when Gideon does like the Kameo wave or whatever, they go into like a remix of it. But yeah,
I will say though, that last episode is great, but I felt like the audio mixing was like super off during it. Like the voices were way louder than everything else.
That's probably by choice.
yeah, I thought because they were in
If it is, I don't like that.
they were in
choice.
null space, right? And I thought that was like the kind of thing they were playing off. It seemed like they were in null space at least.
No, like the music and like the sound effects, like when they were fighting, like their voices were really loud, but all like the punches and the lasers and the music, that was all very quiet.
Oh, okay.
Also, Coast, this was not the level we were on.
I thought it was. My bad.
We're playing the Scott Pilgrim video game while we're talking about this. My bad, everybody.
It's a good game. And then okay, so what did you think of like Ramona and her choice at the end? Because I kind of like the way they played off of it, because it's like Scott is dealing with the fact that like no matter what happens, you know, I'll be different, I'm gonna do better, because Scott's kind of a fuck up. It's kind of his thing. So he wants to be better because he sees the future self, but he wants to be with Ramona. And Ramona's whole thing is that she always runs away from the things she loves. And so at the end, when she like,
Yeah, I wonder why. Sorry, that was a reference to what's happening on Co-Stream.
and then the thing at the end where it's like the two Scots and then her future self, and she goes, "No, I choose you." And I thought like the message they're trying to say is that like when she's running away, she's even running away from herself, so she's choosing to like love herself in that moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like that's what they're trying to do, but it felt a little weird. It felt a little weird to me, just the way it like all paced up to that moment. Like I appreciate, like I get the message, and I think it's a very good message. Like it obviously fits the character, but I feel like the way it all like spaced out, like with her thinking about all the exes she ran away from, and then saying "I choose you" to her future self.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, I don't know where this is going anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening.
I think when the fusion into Super Ramona was kind of was definitely different.
That was just like, okay, I think they're like doing things just so that they can be recognized as an anime, almost like.
Like
I mean, happened, guys. You're
Pilgrim.
definitely watching an anime.
Scott Pilgrim has done weird stuff like that.
Yeah,
like
I was gonna
even
say
in the
one
movie.
thing,
Yeah, I
like
mean-
compared to Nega Scott, there's like Super Ramona. That's like the one thing I could think of. It's really
Well,
compare it
even
to.
with the swords, right? When Scott kind of
Oh yeah, the hard
um,
sword.
yeah, like his self-respect and his love swords that he gets. I think it's
Yeah.
it's probably meant to be a similar parallel to that.
Yeah, like
But
the
there's still
Scott
another-
chooses the power of self acceptance or whatever.
Yeah.
It was kind of meant to be at that moment. And I thought that whole bit, like with Supermona, I thought that was really, really special. I thought that was really great. It just felt nice, you know?
Yeah,
It felt nice.
Mm.
it's a cool way because like I feel that's a nice thing with this show, especially because of the joke of Ramona takes off, but literally kind of in Scott Pilgrim, she's just kind of the girl to chase after. It feels like, at least in
Yeah.
the movie and the game, when you can't really spend a lot of time with her. But in this, you're really seeing like Ramona, her trials and what she's going through. Even like the choice that every single episode opens up with her changing her hair to a different color. Because before, like in the movie and stuff, you just see her and her hair is just different. But now you see the process of it. It's a repeating thing as you're following through the days with her.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I kind of just like glossed over that after a while, just because it was It was just the same animation with just a different color over it. And I was just like I understand why they would want to show that, but it's after a while it kind of loses the impact.
That's
I
fair.
liked it. It was like a magical girl transformation.
Yeah, but again,
Quite funny.
I feel like you kind of lose the impact of it.
So only 3 of those colors are actually like proper color. Well, 3 of those colors are like actual color combinations. The other 3 are just negative versions of those color combinations.
Oh,
But then of course she ends with the yellow yellow hair to symbolize the happiness as she's found self-peace, self-acceptance.
Did older Ramona have the same hair?
Older Ramona was like blue,
it
right?
was blue. I'm trying to remember
Blue and
the
purplish.
second time we see her, if she changed it or not.
I think it was still blue, but then she had the gray in her hair as well.
Oh yeah, right. She was just older.
It was like a dark blue.
Mike, come on.
I guess also, what do you guys think of the potential for more? Because they kind of tease it.
I mean, it's weird that they teased it because then they said that they weren't gonna do another one.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they're like, hey, we designed it to not have a second season because Netflix always cancels shows.
Yeah.
We wanted to leave it on one season. Which is
Oh.
cool, but then why tease?
Okay, but that, yeah, that is true. They, cause
I
Why do
think-
that?
I think it's because they still love the IP and they want to continue making stuff for it, but probably not in the same realm of what they just did. I don't know.
I guess also it gives them an out where it's like, but more could happen, but it's not like a cliffhanger ending.
Mm-hmm.
At the same
Right.
time, we still got a full ending, but they're teasing like, hey, if this does well, we could always do more. Which I hope it does, because I'd love to see more of these characters.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, especially now that we're at like the Undertale pacifist ending version of this story.
Yeah, yeah. I actually
It'd be
don't
nice to
know
like
what
see
will
the
happen
whole
from here.
cast.
Flowey was there the entire time.
Yeah, Flowey was the robot.
With the robot thing, I thought that was a cool touch when like Scott is using the robot to see the past, and then you're kind of realizing every time we saw the bot in specific spots around Ramona, it was just Scott watching. Like,
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool. Oh god, that whole ending sequence was great. Sorry, I'm just thinking about it again. I really also loved like the full ending at the end, like after the whole fight, and the
Yeah.
Super Ramona bit,
yeah,
and the epilogue with Knives joining the band.
Yeah, I really like that too. The whole like Knives is actually just like a musical genius in this was super cool to watch.
Yeah, it was fun for a character.
Mm.
Because it's like you got again like a small glimpse of it in the movie, but in the show it's like, yeah, they wrote a whole musical. Like,
Incredibly quickly.
yeah.
Honestly, a good musical too. The little bit of the songs we heard, actually, like I want to watch that musical.
Maybe that's the next show. The Matthew
d-
Patel
the-
musical.
The Matthew
Yeah.
Patel musical, dude.
what was it?
They could do that live
Scott
action.
Pilgrim's Precious Little Musical or something.
Yeah, I forget what
Yeah.
it was called.
Yeah.
And also, I thought that was funny because issue 1 of the comics is Scott Pilgrim's Precious Little Life,
Yeah.
and that's what the script for the movie. That's what made me think. I was like, oh, is this just Brian? Is he behind everything?
I can see how you thought that now. That makes sense. I'm trying to think of what else there was about the ending that I really liked.
Oh, Lucas Lee as a barista.
Oh yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna forget her name. Kim. I remembered. I don't remember her last name, but Kim then responding
Kim
with whatever, and he's definitely falling for Kim. It seems like
That's not gonna happen.
season 2.
I mean, yeah, like that's what season 2 could be. Is just like just continuing from that point on. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be in that universe. Like, it could continue from Scott Pilgrim versus the World, where they do like a continuation of stuff from there.
Would they though? I feel like yeah, continue off of this one now.
I don't know. Like, it all depends on what they want to continue off of, I guess.
I feel like with the end of Gideon and I cannot remember her name.
Julie Powers.
Julie Powers, yeah. So Julie and Gideon in his lair, like laughing evilly, is like that's a good point to kick off. Like they have to figure out what they're gonna be evil about, but I feel like them doing stuff and just involving all the other characters, and then you like go through each of them again. Maybe not in the same vein, but like I don't know. I feel like they could do that and figure that out.
They were watching Scott and Ramona on the monitors, so who knows what the heck they were planning.
Yeah. Because Julie still doesn't like... I mean, she likes Ramona, but she doesn't like Scott. So that's a reason enough for her to tell Gideon.
Gordon?
Nah,
Oh yeah,
but
Gordon Goose. The goose is loose.
Nah, he's back to Gideon at that point.
No, he's Goose. She said the goose is loose.
Oh yeah, she does say that. Wow. I think I probably just deleted that from my brain because I kept hearing that from like Skyward Sword. So I kept just like forgot about it.
Yeah, I have no idea what they could possibly do with a future thing.
I will say, I did love, like I said, I love they put the video game thing in at the end, and I like that all the, like, when people are turning into coins, and picking up coins is just, like, the indicator from the game, basically. But I really wish, I want more, like, Anamanaguchi, like, chiptune stuff. Because, I mean, I just love the game and its soundtrack so much.
I'm glad they kept some of the stuff from, or the music from the movies. Or movie, not movies.
Yeah, they definitely, for music-wise, they definitely lean much heavier in the movie. But I did like a lot of the actual singing was basically the movie versions of all that stuff still.
Yeah. Is that it?
It's on the Brie Larson song.
Yeah,
yeah,
true.
like
We didn't get hers.
the metric song was, I'm glad was there. Like it was like a more of a live version, compared to like how it sounded, kind of just like a studio release in the movie. I appreciated that. I appreciated that a lot more.
Because like I thought in the movie, the band before Sex Bob-Ombs did play and they had a song, but I don't remember that was in this.
Yeah, that was,
I Hate You. Please
They
Die
didn't
or
have
something?
it. They didn't have it in the anime.
Yeah.
Crash and the boys.
Yeah, they pulled out.
I'm so very sad. Or I'm so sad. I forget what it is.
Mm-hmm.
What?
They have two songs.
Yeah, the
that I
first
remember
one
from the movie.
is I am so sad. I am so very, very sad.
Yeah. Well, we beat it, Mike.
Why did we get two different endings? My ending is the ending of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Why'd you get this?
I don't know why I got this. I'm kind of sick. I got all the girls, except I don't want all of them because one of them's a fucking high schooler.
I kind of like at the end, Scott addresses that. It's like, yeah, I didn't think about it. Maybe me dating a high schooler is probably not a good idea.
I'm so happy they addressed that too.
So where does this rank on your Scott Pilgrim tier list?
Right next to the game. I put the game really high up. I like the movie, but I love the game. I played it a bunch.
I still think the movie will be the top for me.
I'm honestly not sure, but it's only because all of them are very high, so I'm not quite sure which is the highest.
How about favorite character?
And this
In this specifically?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lucas Lee.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Knives. Knives is very funny in this.
Yeah, Knives does get to do just a lot more in general than in the movie. What you, Viren?
Probably Ramona. I just think she fills the protagonist role of this series really well.
How about you, Kos?
Yeah, there's a handful that I really liked. Like I liked Lucas Lee a lot. I liked Young Neil a lot in this. I honestly do think if there was a little bit more regular Scott in this, I think he would still be at the top for me. I just really enjoy Scott as a character.
Yeah, it is a shame with how much effort Michael Cera was putting into that performance. That only gets like 3 episodes in the show.
Yeah.
Really would have liked to see more of him, but you know that's the whole point. So,
Yeah.
all right, favorite fight.
Ooh.
The Matthew Patel versus Gideon one.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah, I'd probably go with that one too.
I'm thinking Ramona versus Roxy.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too.
gonna
Yeah,
do
I
one
really
as
like
well.
that one as well. Yeah, I think those two were my favorite actually.
What about you, McDareth?
Yeah, it's definitely I like Matthew Patel versus Gideon. Because you're just gonna see the two do a bunch of different stuff you haven't really seen, especially Matthew. You basically see nothing from him besides him summoning the demons. It's like it. So that fight, and then I do also like Ramona versus Roxy. But I feel like those are like really the two big ones. It's not that many. I guess you got like Lucas Lee versus the paparazzi, but
Yeah, that wasn't really like a fight. That
yeah.
was more of like a chase.
Like a chase, yeah.
Yeah.
Very
And
cool
then-
chase, but a chase.
Oh, yeah, but
Wallace
then
Wells
there's-
versus Ramona was kind of lame.
It was funny though. It was funny as Wallace is sitting there insulting all his stunt doubles and like we're prepared for physical damage, but not emotional damage. It's like, that was funny.
Mike, I have a
I-
question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I gotta let me just get the name of the character while I kind of like talk that I'm pretending that I'm like trying to remember. Okay, so you know the guy in SpongeBob that's the cucumber? I forget his name.
The sea cucumber with the
guy?
crown.
Yeah, you know, remember him?
Yeah.
Doesn't he remind you of older Scott a little bit with how he he projects his voice and stuff?
No, the older Scott reminds me of Randy Marsh.
For some reason, like I imagine the sea cucumber guy just shouting, "Would you cut that out?" is just like
Would you cut that out?
it's just older Scott in a nutshell.
That's very funny. I can see it. But no, I definitely was getting Randy Marsh vibes from older Scott. Specifically like the mid stage. I don't know who the last stage reminds me of. I don't think it reminds me of anything. Maybe Broly.
I don't know about Broly.
No, when he powers up, that was definitely a Broly power up.
I will say it's funny thinking back to it because like Scott Pilgrim seems like he's just a regular dude that's just like whatever. Now he's just fighting. He's just suddenly he's a good fighter, can beat all these guys. And then in this it's like he's like the best fighter in the county. It's like I don't think I really do that going into like the story of Scott Pilgrim in the past.
Yeah, was that a comic thing? Yeah, but no, I
Wait,
haven't
what?
read the comic.
That
Scott being a good fighter before, the whole Evil X's thing.
I actually don't know. I don't think I think it's just a thing. Like it's not really. I don't know. Oh, apparently, best fighter in the province is a comic line. So okay,
okay, because I thought
Okay.
the movie didn't really touch on that.
it's been a
No.
long time since I read the comics. I don't remember much of them.
Yeah, in the movie they almost make it like everyone's like shocked that Scott can even fight almost. No, yeah, Scott Pilgrim takes off.
Very good. If you've listened
Really,
to
really
this
liked it.
and haven't watched it for some reason, definitely go watch it. All Scott Pilgrim media is actually very good. The game is back from limbo. Very good game.
Why were you listening to this if you haven't watched it?
Yeah, some people just like to support. But yeah, very good. Any like final remarks from everybody?
Don't date high schoolers.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
Unless you're also in high school.
Yeah. It's okay if you're already in high school.
Oh man, that was just a really, really, really good feelings from that show. Had a really awesome time watching it. I'm very happy everyone came back to do it. I'm very happy it was like almost like a dream team of everyone coming back. You know, you got the composer of the game, the people that did the movie, like acted in the movie, and also the producer who is the director of the movie, and the original creator writing.
Yeah, there's
like,
the creators involved and everything. Yeah,
it's like, come on.
It feels
You
very
couldn't
much
get any
like
better.
how the One Piece show was. It's very obvious the people that made this like Scott Pilgrim. It doesn't. It's like nothing about this feels like a cash grab. It just feels like these people really care about these characters.
And I love, you know, even though I was a little disappointed that it wasn't exactly what I wanted as like an adaptation, I really love that they did something new with the character in this story. And I think like on the whole, I think I like the general flow of the story of the original, but I really like what this story was doing like closer to the end. Like I think the ending of this is a lot stronger than the ending of the movie, or just like, you know, the original story.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the whole epilogue thing, and then the final song leading into the credits. Ooh, that's good stuff.
Definitely really good.
I hope it turns out better for them.
Well, hey, they're not all dead, so you know.
Yeah.
That can only go up. Hopefully.
Yeah, don't turn into the evil Scott again.
Oh, okay. That's one thing. I hope we do get a season 2. I kind of want to see Nega Scott because, like, again, personally really likes the game. I kind of want to see what they would do with him in like this timeline.
Yeah, season 2 could be very cool if they have an idea for it.
Hey, I would also be up for a new Scott Pilgrim game too. Like, I'm down for that.
Yeah. Oh yes. Please.
Just bring it all back. Do a new movie. Why not?
Let's take it away from Ubisoft this time.
Yeah.
Let's take it away from Ubisoft.
Give it to the Shredder's Revenge people. They fucking
nailed
that. That would be sick.
With the Anna Monoguchi and T. Lopes collaboration on the music.
Oh,
100%.
What are you doing? Also, okay, real quick. I know that we're like trying to wrap up here.
It's all good.
Pixel art or hand drawn for if they did like a new beat 'em up.
If it looks close to this anime, it can't be exactly like this, but like this style, I would really like hand drawn. Otherwise, like kind of the pixel art is so it's a really cool charm, and the music they put to it. But if they can get it close the way this looks, then yeah, I think hand drawn would look really cool.
Like I'm just thinking, like imagine Streets of Rage 4.
I mean, if it's gonna be Shredder's Revenge people, I would love for them to have.
Yeah, they would do pixel art.
Yeah.
I think if they do pixel art, I'd like it to have a greater degree of fidelity than this game's than the Versus the Wild game. I mean, obviously, the Versus the Wild game looks great, but I think it could look even better.
Yeah. The rest of the world definitely looks like, hey, it's crazy for how good it is. The rest of the world definitely looks like, hey, it's just a little shitty movie tie-in game with a shoestring budget. Here you go.
Yeah, I feel that.
Which I think shows because like Anamanaguchi, like they just stopped paying them for the music.
That's crazy.
It's like the music is really good. Yeah, that's like they pulled the music from Spotify and everything, and then like, oh no, it's all back up now. And it's like, what was that whole saga? Just Ubisoft things, I guess. like I'm trying to remember. This game got delisted while we were still in the 360 generation, right? I don't think we moved past the generation before it got delisted, or did we?
I forget.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if it was that early or if it was like.
I'm pretty sure it was. If I recall, I think it was early on.
Which I don't know how. That's just like, okay, I get that they make licensed games, but how did a licensed game that's not a live service game just get taken off the stores? Like, what happened with the original version of this game? It really doesn't make sense.
You just ran out of license. Can't sell it anymore.
I suppose it's just there's so many like licensed games that just exist. But I guess back then this thing didn't have a physical version until now.
Oh yeah, they did do that.
Which, so I got the collectors from Limited Run Games. That thing took a year after the game came out to get here. It's cool. It's like you get like a roadie case that you open it and it plays a different Anamanaguchi song with a little pop up on a stage. Like, it's really cool. I also got it digital so I could actually play it, but yeah, that thing took a year to get here. Anyway, there's the Roger flex from Not Roger. So thank you guys for watching. Some reminders, I guess, before we close out. One, check out the Japan Time Twitter, also in the YouTube community page. We also have it there as well. We're doing the 12 days of Japan Time, little celebrations for our 10th anniversary. Today was Mike's day, also Mike's birthday. So happy birthday again, Mike.
Thank you, thank you.
Happy birthday.
And something else that we're doing is a new merch piece. We have a Japan Time 10th anniversary clock that's on sale right now. It's pretty cool. It's a fully functioning. It's a novelty piece because honestly, who uses an analog clock like that anymore? But it's got a full Japan Time thing. I'll put a thing on the screen, but it's got the full.
Doesn't
Japan
even
Time
got
stuff.
numbers on it.
Yeah, but the markers are the numbers. Like it's counted out to be correct. But you have to look at the markers. So yeah, there's no numbers, but it is a fully functioning clock. Working with Space for that. The guys are great. So you can support the show. Pick one of those up. Nice 10th anniversary piece. So everybody, anything else before we sign off?
Don't date high schoolers.
Right, I already did this. Okay, so thank you guys for watching.
It's a good message to end off on.
Yes. And we'll see you guys next time.